Yes, also the European Patent Office has a story to tell about machine translation. How could it be different with so many countries which are member states? So let me just start with a very, very quick introduction about the institution. Maybe most of you know it, maybe some of you don't. So just a couple of bullet points. First of all, the European Patent Office supports economic growth, competitiveness, and innovation across Europe in order to bring, indeed, welfare through the services which are offered to the patent system user community through the European Patent Convention. So what is maybe peculiar is that the European Patent Office is not, or not yet, an EU institution, and it is a self-funding institution, as a matter of fact, which finances itself through the fees which are paid for the services. Here you have a map which shows the coverage of the member states of the European Patent Office, which is a bit wider than the EU, as you can see. There are a few member states more. We have 37 at the moment. Last one, Albania, joined on the 1st of May 2010. So why is machine translation important for the European Patent Office? First of all, I have maybe to make a disclaimer at this point, in the sense that the European Patent Office as such is translating a lot, in the sense that we have 3 working languages, so there are many internal proceedings which are translated into English, French, and German. However, what I want to address here is the translation of patent documents as such, in order either to make them available to the large public, and this is what is described in the first bullet point. So access to patent information all across Europe to all patent users. We also use a machine translation in order to support the London Agreement, which is a bit the first attempt to make the patent system less expensive through translation. Also, we try, and it is our intention, also through our policy line, of course, but especially in the translation issue, we support the institution of the community patent. And very important, a machine translation should also help the examiners at the EPO, but also at other national patent offices, to search the prior art. So here you have an overview of the historical background, how the machine translation first was introduced to the Patent Office. There was a decision in 2004 from the Administrative Council, our governing body, to go towards machine translation. The objective was actually a relatively realistic one and modest one. So it was to make patent text understandable, only understandable to technical experts in the various fields. Now, as you can imagine, this objective has been completely overrun through the new developments. The expectations have raised a lot in the meantime. This is no longer enough for a service to be offered. However, in 2004, we ran a call for tender. We received offers, actually only from providers of rule-based engines. And the selection went to a company in US called Worlingo, offering a system, Sistron. the particular approach that is probably interesting is that the dictionaries were built on the basis of the IPC. So technical terms were extracted from the patent documents and then aligned according to the IPC code, because the same terms can have a very different meanings according to the technical domain. And then dictionaries were created, IPC-based, and then loaded onto the engine. Here you have a step-by-step description on how the technical dictionaries were built. You can see that there were EPO and the National Patent Office were involved. It was quite a lot of work. And actually, we think that the technical dictionaries are still a valuable deliverable per se. So in the meantime, what has happened? In 2008, the two pairs were completed and put into production. Translation, English-Spanish, Spanish-English, and German-English, English-German. Later on, we implemented French and Italian in the same way, however, with less satisfactory results. As a matter of fact, as you can see, we have implemented them, but the work we don't consider it completed, and we are still working on it. In the meantime, on the 1st of July 2008, an agreement entered into force. The European Patent Office was to carry out national searches for the Italian Patent Office. So we had a commitment to deliver within certain deadlines a service based actually on machine translation, because the agreement foresaw that only the claims would be humanly translated and the description could be translated automatically. Now you can imagine how it is important, how important it is that the description has a certain quality in order to carry out this prior art search. So this brought us actually recently to select statistical machine translation for Italian, which is language weaver. The decision was taken on the basis of the fact that even untrained language weaver was delivering a better translation than the original one with dictionaries. So, in the meantime, we had also started, of course, our aim was to create implementation for as many languages as possible. We started also Swedish and Portuguese, but the results were also not particularly satisfactory, and therefore we have these two implementations on hold. Here I thought it would be interesting to add some figures on how many sentences were extracted and aligned, and also some evaluation through the Blue Score. So how are these services available to the users? One is through Espacenet. Here you have the website. And one is internally to the EPO examiners via EPO, which is the search tool. Here there are some screenshots from Espacenet so that you can see where the translation is available. The translation is available for the abstract. You can see it here. It's also available for the description and the claims. As a matter of fact, here we are in the description field, and the translation, this text button is also available. Once that you press the button, you will be prompted to the selection of which language, target language, you want the translation into. And this is the screenshot on the second one with the translation into Spanish. These are the usage numbers. Usage numbers of the two directions for each language in the time between January and April 2010. So for some languages, the figure is very low, like from Spanish to English and from Italian to English, just because we have actually a low number of documents available in full text in Spanish and Italian. But as you can see, otherwise, the numbers are quite high. Here is also the pie showing the origins of the request. And now what happened? It was very clear for us that we have reached the technical limits of the current approach. And we decided that it was not possible to go on in implementations in the same way. And therefore, we have drafted a new cooperation program. Cooperation program because it is something that we want to implement together with the member states of the EPO who have the same interests. They also have the interest to defend the national languages, to protect them, and to continue to use them also at working level. So what we want is a system which is tailor-made for patents, and that is able to, or many systems, of course, that, so that we can have translations into and from all member states' languages. So also the less resourced languages that we have seen before. What do we have today? Today we have English as private language, but what we want tomorrow is to have all three official languages as private languages. And then our draft is under examination of the Administrative Council. We plan to have a reply or the green light, the official green light, in October 2010. After that, we can proceed with our plan to collect corpora and then integrate it into services and eventually into patent information tools and other similar tools. For all this, of course, we want to work with the member states, and at the moment we are also working in collaboration with the EU consortium. The last slide is indeed a list of the points which are so important for us and that we want to have addressed in our program, and we look for partners who can satisfy these requirements. That is, quality requirements, flexibility requirements, language offer requirements, of course, because at the end of the day, it was clear that we could not offer the same solution for all languages, and actually, ideally, we can use several solutions for the same language pairs so that the users can only have the best results and use them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Patrizia. And questions? Question? Khalid?
You mentioned a couple of times that you selected systems according to either feelings or something that I didn't understand correctly. How did you really conduct kind of formal evaluation for selecting, for instance, Language Weaver as the SMT for your activities?
There were tests done on technical and non-technical texts. And there was, let's say, the evaluation was carried out partly based on the Blue Score and partly based on human evaluation by the examiners.
Thank you.
You might not be able to disclose this, but I was wondering, as a quintessentially multilingual institution, what kind of an order of magnitude is your budget for language technologies, or is there no budget?
This is a very tricky question because I can tell you what we plan to spend in our department, but this is by no means the whole budget. So we have forecasted at least, again, this is only, it will be valid if the Administrative Council approves it. However, we have envisaged a program of 5 years which will be around 800,000 per year, all included. I mean, we are talking about corpora, collection, extraction, and human resources necessary to manage this.
One more question here. No?
I had the same question.
Oh, yes, question. Joseph.
What is the relationship between the machine translation, automatic machine translation, and human translator in your office?
I'm sure that there is a, for instance, I know that the system, they use Trados as a system and as an aid for translation. But as I said, we are concerned more with providing patent translation to the public. So this is more of an internal organization matter. Yeah.
One more question too.
To a layman, the notion of translating patents would seem to be something which is very, very domain specific. Is this something which is reflected in the way you are setting up your systems?
It will have to be.
Okay.
Can I just ask one? The EPO requires the claims to be translated into French and German. You mentioned that language weaver untrained SMT was better than the rule-based, but it wasn't really untrained because you had a huge corpora of all the translated claims that you could feed into the SMT. Isn't that correct?
I was referring to Italian. Huh? We are using language weaver only for Italian.
But the fact that you had all the French and German to train the claims translated, was that a huge advantage?
Maybe some expert can reply on this.
Okay. This is your answer? Okay. Thank you again, Patrizia. If we have to go.